guys, it is 3:01, so I guess it's time to get started. If I sound a little hoarse today, it's because I am working on a cold. My fall colds seem to be kicking in. You guys, if you've been around with me for a while, you know every year I seem to get cold around this time of the year. And with my asthma, it tends to be around my chest. So excuse the stuffiness here. I got a cough drop in my mouth as well, and just trying to avoid a cold. All right, so I see a lot of people in the chat, and I hope everybody's excited about the project today. Had a lot of fun creating this promo. The last week when we were together, some people were talking about using some of the mixed media items, and I saw someone mention the icicles. So I decided to play with some of my collage mediums today. And I pulled out my icicles. I think somebody said they had their icicles, and my little icicle container was all dried out. So as Tim Holt says, you know, this stuff isn't forever, and it does dry out. So I did go through some of my stuff, and I did find some things that I can still use, but certainly use your stuff so it doesn't dry out, because I had to throw away a couple of little jars, not big ones, but still, and I think I've had them for a while. But today we're going to play with some stencils, with some collage grit paste, some embossing folders. We're going to do a whole lot of stuff today, guys. And the theme card that we're working with is Christmas Candy Shop. I did put some links in the description box. So be sure to check that out. And I have some new digitals in there as well, you guys. You know that whenever I'm creating for you guys, I like to not only create something with some of my craft supplies, but then I always have the idea to create it in digital form as well. So for those of you that don't have other products and still want to create a cute little card, you can still do that. So that's what we're doing today. I'm excited people are still signing up for the steampunk journal class. I have one more packet I'm waiting for, and then I can start putting the kids together. I got let me show you. Grab it here. So I got my little metal tabs in. And I'm waiting for these cogs here. That's what I'm waiting for. So as soon as I have those, then I can go ahead and start putting my kits together, and then I'll set them aside for January, and then they'll go out in January. So if you haven't signed up for the steampunk class, be sure to do that. I have several kits left. I'm hoping people are just holding off because we have some time before the class, but certainly I don't want to end up with kids, so hopefully more people will sign up and order the kit and participate in the class. So that's what we're doing. And then I've also started kind of sourcing for next year what I'm going to be doing. We'll be doing another spring tag class, kind of like what we did over Halloween and Christmas, the tag class, which will be a little bit cheaper than the steampunk class. And then I'm working on a Golden Books class next year. I hope you guys are excited about that. I've never done a Golden Book class, but I thought it would be fun. And then I thought maybe for Christmas, if I can get my act together, we'll do some 3D projects as well. So I'm kind of coming up with my prototypes for next year. I decided not to wait till the end of the year to try to figure out, or the end of next year to figure out what I'm going to do. If I can have them all set and ready, then I can source my product and not feel so stressed coming up on the class. So that's the plan, everybody. Let me go ahead and transition down, and I'll try not to cough so much. And yeah, the class run is going to be Christmas book class, so I'm sourcing those. Certainly, like all my classes, you can use your own product or you can get my kit, but I'm going to be doing kits for that as well. All right, let's transition down and get going here. Okay, messy desk alert for sure. All right. Okay. Let's see what we got going on. We got a messy desk is what we got going on, don't we? Alright. Let me clear this off. What I've been doing for our meats on no, Delina, I haven't been tested. I get sick every year because of my asthma. So I don't I already know what it is. So I don't. If it gets too bad, I'll go into the doctor and get something from bronchitis. But we'll see how it goes. Alright, so this is what I created this week. And like I was about to say, is what I've been doing recently is I've been creating phototypes during the week. Prototypes. And then that's what I do on Sundays. So it's been a lot of fun kind of planning ahead. And then I get time to craft during the week. I've already started thinking about what I'm going to do next week. But we'll save that. So this is a window card. And when you open it, it has the little shelf. And then I'm going to have like the Merry Christmas thing here. This part here actually was a fix. Because when I cut it, it was off center. And I didn't like the way that looked. So I added the window and the inside. And lo and behold, I thought, hey, that's a good idea. I think I'll do that. So sometimes our mistakes turn into really cool ideas. But what I'm going to be using are some stickers that are in the shop. And I've got some larger ones and I've got some smaller ones. These are the larger ones. And then I have some smaller ones as well. This is done with an embossing folder, but I thought we would do a couple of covers. We would do an embossing folder as well as a stencil. And then the shelf that I'm using, believe it or not, is from this apothecary die. And this little shelf turned out to be perfect. So, to go through your dies, see what works, because sometimes it's not necessarily just for what it's shown to be used for, right? You can come up with other ideas as well. All right, so before I get ahead of myself, I do want to show you the digital items that are available in the shop. I did, for you Backstage Pass holders, I did put these in the confectionery kit. I added to the kit. These are pre-designed candy cane background. And I really love this. It kind of looked like a counter, and it worked out perfect. So these are available to print, cut, and paste, and go. So I've got, not the paper though, the paper was my own, but I just printed on the paper, which worked out really well. So I've got two of the designs here with different paper that I created. And then off of the confectionery kit, I have these gnomes in there, and I put him holding the little jar. I thought that was really cute. So just another idea of what you can do with that kit. And then these are these are the new card toppers that I created. So easy. I've been doing this a lot, where I've just been creating print and go cards for you guys to just be able to print them out and go, and then you can add to them if you want to, of course. But they're really great starters. Excuse the cough, guys. All right, let's get going here. So the way that I did this was kind of hard, and I'm going to break it down for you. So what I started with was my windows, and these windows come from the old Biggs die set. You guys might remember these. They're not really around anymore, to be honest with you. But that's how I cut. That's what I cut my my window out of. And then I used an embossing folder for this, and I cut it first. And I found a die. You can use any die. I found a die that would fit the window. And then I embossed it after I cut it, because if you cut it after you emboss it, you might flatten your embossing. The embossing is just a regular embossing folder. It's not one of those fancy ones of Tim Holtz. I can't remember what they're called, but it's just a regular embossing folder, and it worked fine. And then I used, you guys might remember these. These were from the Peking Snowman, guys. I was able to use the icicles as well as the snowflakes for the design. And just get my stuff together here. And then I doubled these, so the window was doubled to give it a little bit of lift. This was also from an older Biggs die. I don't know if I'll put it on my new one I do today, but we'll see. And then that was the cover. The inside, of course, was the shelf with the jars. And then I ended up cutting this. I tried to do it a couple of ways. I tried to do it where I put the die in the middle and then ran it through this way. And I wasn't real impressed with the embossing I got on the other side. So I ended up cutting it with a straight blade, not a straight blade, a X-Acto knife. So hopefully you guys have one of these. This is what I ended up using, and it worked pretty well. And that's what we'll do today. Alright, so now that I've broken it down for you, let's go ahead and get going. I'm going to do a couple of card panels for you. One will take some drying time and then one won't. So let's do the one that takes some drying time first. I had an idea to not only do brick, but to do cobblestone as well, using the grit paste. Not sure if that's going to work or not, but we're going to give it a try. You never know until you try, right? Alright, but before we do that, let's go ahead and cut our card base. The way that I created this square is I got some of my windows. And by the way, if you want some of these windows, these are in the shop. I'm selling them in sets of 10, already cut for you guys. So if you want to do that, you can. So I just laid this down and I traced it. And then I'm going to cut it. And then once you get the initial cut, then you can cut it a little bit bigger if you need to. I might pause between talking because it's really making me cough, and I'm sure you guys are a little annoyed by it. So let me see if I can do this here. Alright, so all I'm going to do here is use my straight blade. This window is actually a little bit smaller than I need to, so if I screw it up too much, I still have room to correct it. So I'm just pushing down really hard here to get through the paper. This is thicker cardstock, so it's going to take me a few swipes to get through it. Okay. And remember, this doesn't have to be pretty because it's going to get covered. So don't sweat it too much. Don't cut on the glass. How come, Tina? That's what it's there for. I don't know what else I would cut on if I don't cut on the glass. If you're saying it's going to get scratched, that doesn't bother me. It's a work mat for me. And yeah, it gets scratched, but it doesn't bother me. This is a work mat. Yeah, I didn't ever think it was self-healing, but this is just a media mat for me to be able to cut on and to be able to put my ink on it. So I'm okay with it getting scratched. In fact, I can see it scratched, but I don't care. That doesn't bother me. I know some of us like to keep our supplies and our tools perfect, but for me, as long as it does what I need it to do, I'm fine with that. I don't want to poke my fingers here. Alright. So let me just make sure I can cut through this here. There it goes. Oh, I didn't do that side yet. And like I said, this is not going to show. So I'm not concerned about the imperfection of it. Alright. Okay, there you go. So now that I have this cut, you can take your sander if you wanted to, you know, and sand off some of the rough edges. It's not necessary. Because you're going to cover it. But if you feel the need to do that, you can. And then, of course, as you're creating your window, test it along the way. If you need to trim a little bit more, which I will on this one, you can. You have this much room on the top and on the bottom to be able to fudge a little bit. So if you need to, you know, cut a little bit more, just go ahead and do it. It's going to get covered, so don't sweat it. And if you have a bigger die, of course, I searched through my stuff to see if I had a bigger die, and I didn't have one that would be bigger and still small enough, if that makes sense. So I just ended up going with this one, and I'm talking about the actual this right here. Alright, so let me just cut a little bit off of the top and off of the side, and then we can work on the stuff. And then, like I said, just test it along the way to just see if that's enough. You don't need it to be a lot, you just need it to be enough. So let's trim it just a little bit more. Like I said, I knew this window was a little bit smaller when I traced it, but I'd rather it be smaller and trim some more than cut too much. It's always a good idea, of course, to start out smaller and then just continue to trim. And of course, if you can get it perfect the first time, that's always nice too. Okay. Oh, that just went flying on me. All right, I think that'll work. Let me test that. Oh yeah, see, that's perfect. Let me just cut this a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Just an eensy beensy more. Oh yeah, that's good. Look at that. Perfect, guys. Perfect. Alright, now that I have that, let's go ahead and do our cobblestone. So like I said, on the first one, I did the embossing plate, and we'll do this in a minute. But I wanted to try this cobblestone. And if you have embossing or a stencil that is brick, you can do this as well. This would work. Now, let me think here. I'm going to, don't want to get my crypt. That's what I'm going to use, my grip paste crypt. I don't want to get this on the inside. Oh boy, I hope this isn't dry. Oh, it's not. I was afraid it was going to be dry. So I'm just going to attempt to do this here. Let's see, I probably need some tape. Okay, so let's tape this. There we go. Hey, Lords. Alright. So just taping this down just to have a little bit of sturdiness here. I don't need a lot. And, oh man, look at you guys. So, see, this is starting to dry on me. It's not quite dry, thank goodness. Use your stuff. I should take my own advice, right? I might have to make a few of these cards this year to use my grip paste. But this is really a good texture for cobblestones. And that's what I'm going to be doing here. Alright. Let's see what we can do. I used this for cobblestones on a storefront, I want to say last year, but not on the actual wall. I think I did it on the on the walkway. Keep going here. It's looking pretty good, I think. And you can make this as Delina. I was just going to say, you can make this as thick or as light as you want. My rule of thumb is to make sure that I don't see through it. So here, if you can see this, I don't know if you can see this. This tells me it's not enough. And then that's perfect. So I don't necessarily want it to be translucent. Unless that's, you know, the look you're going for. But for me, I don't want it to be translucent. I want it to be solid, just like it would a cobblestone. So that's kind of what I'm going for. I hope that answers your question. So just continuing to go down. And this is an oversized card. So I am going to have to move this, which can create some, I don't want to say difficulty, but a little bit more challenge, right, when you have to line it up again. What I would say is if you do have to move it and line it up, you know, maybe set it aside and let it dry. We're not going to create this one today. I just wanted to show you the different background that you can make. And let's see. That looks pretty good, I think. Maybe a little bit more right here. And then just one more swipe down. This is thick enough where it doesn't bleed through. You can certainly have that problem if it's too watery, but this isn't too watery at all. That's good. Look at that, you guys. So that's a cobblestone. And, you know, I'm going to have my frame around here, so that's not going to be a problem. I'm going to let this dry, because if I try to add more to it, I'm going to smear this. So, you know, if you were doing an A2 card, it would be perfect. Or if you had an oversized stencil, it would be perfect too. But I don't have that, so I'm going to just put this aside and let it dry. Maybe we'll come back to it at the end. But I kind of wanted to show you, you don't necessarily just have to do a brick background. You can, you know, if you have stencils, you can do it with stencils as well, whether it's embossing or a stencil. Alright, so let's clean that up, and we'll come back to that. I also have a little container for water here. If you are working with stencils, it's always nice to have something like this handy, so that way you don't have to keep jumping up and down and cleaning it. Alright. This stuff will dry, so if you keep it wet, you can come back at a later time and clean it up. Alright, so let's put this aside for a minute. And then we're going to work with the, just clean up my stuff here. Alright, we're going to work with the embossing folder. Now the embossing folder, I've already embossed it, and I had to do it kind of the same way as I'm doing the stencil. I had to do half, and then I had to do another half. But of course this is dry, so it was easy for me to line it up. I colored it with two colors. Surprise, surprise, walnut stain, and then fired brick. I am using the Distress inks and not the oxides. I think you get a better color combination with it. So let me show you what I did. The first thing I did was I just lightly, let me say softly, but not softly, lightly went around the bricks with the walnut stain. It doesn't have to be completely covered, and I'll show you why in a minute. Trying to cover that light. Alright. So just lightly. And you can just see patches of it, and that's really what I'm going for. So once you've got your patches of walnut stain, I took the fired brick and I just swiped, you guys. That's what I did. And then I came back in with my walnut stain again. And I wanted the fired brick to be the dominant color. That's why I swiped it a little bit darker, and then I'll come in and I'll blend it with the walnut stain. And that's where I think you get the true vintage brick look. Now your fingers might get inky. I know mine did when I was doing this, so just kind of be prepared for that. Time for another cough drop. Hold on a second. I've been sucking on these Ricolas. I just make my throat feel really good. Alright. Let's just continue to add some of our brown in here. Excuse me, walnut stain. Okay. And there you go. So that's my brick. It's not too red. It's got a nice walnut stain look to it. And I think it works really well. Alright, so that's my brick wall. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is attach your window. Yeah, I don't know what that is. But I don't mind. Alright, so we're going to attach our window. But first what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of color to it, but not walnut stain. I want antique linen. Let's see. And I was using my antique linen, and that's probably why I can't find it right now. Antique linen. Where is the antique linen? I can't find the antique linen, so I guess we're going to go with the Lost Shadow. I hope I don't have any regrets. Yeah, Robin, I think I like the brick look better too, but you don't know if you like something better if you don't have anything to compare it to. So, you gotta try different things, right? Alright. I really wish I could find my antique linen, but we're gonna go with this. I just don't want it to be so white, but I don't want it dark either. So let's just do this. Okay. And then that looks pretty good. And now I can add my walnut stain on the edges. Excuse me. Now, because I have this, I just realized, I'm probably going to put that at the bottom and I'll glue on top, so I really don't need to fuss too much with that piece, so let's not. Let's go ahead and put this down. But before I do that, we have to put the acetate. Where is that? Here it is. All right, so let's cut this. It would have helped if I measured it, but y'all know that I fly by the seat of my pants. So let's cut it about right here, I guess. Does that look right? Yeah. And then about right here, I guess. A little crooked. It's a little crooked, Monica. Let's see if we can straighten that out. And a little bit more. Now, if I wasn't on camera, I would have gotten up and measured it probably. But this will do just fine. There we go. And the reason I want the acetate is because we're going to put snow on the windows. So we want to make sure we have a surface to do that. There we go. Okay. Alright, so there's that. And then your second, again, I probably would choose to use antique linen versus my lost shadow, but I just don't want it to be white. So I'm just adding a little bit of color to it. And then I'm just adding walnut stain to the edge. Is everybody mesmerized? Is that why there's no chit chat going on? Alright. I can't do a lot of chit chatting because of my throat, or else I'd be asking y'all questions. But, alright. So, this is going to go here. I am going to double it up just to give it a little bit more substance, I guess. I think when I did the first one, I glued the acetate between this, and then I glued it down, but it really doesn't make a difference. It's pretty good. And then remember, we're going to do it on this side too, so I think I have, I hope I have another window around here. Oh yeah. I wonder if we should do the brick on this side too. I'm afraid it would seep over to the other side of the card, so I think I might just leave this white. But I do want to have this on the inside as well. So let me just add a little bit more color. I might decide, maybe I'll do something lighter, right? I don't know. We'll see. Don't want to do the red and the walnut stain just because I think it will seep over to the other side, and I don't want that. All right. So let's put this here. Isn't that just a clever way to cover that up? And then just match your panes. Should we double it? Why not? A lot of it has the white. Well, there you go, Delina. So it is true to form then. Okay. Then we'll just stick this right on top. Perfect. All right. So now you have the inside and the outside all set. Okay. I guess I should stop moving it around, shouldn't I? Let it dry, Monica. Let it dry. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, guys, now we are ready to put this onto the card. Let's take a look at this. So this is interesting. So this is obviously still wet, but with the grit paste, the moisture of the paper does warp it a little bit. So that's something to take into consideration. And like I said, you never know until you actually play with something if it's going to work. But to be honest with you, I think I like this better. All right, let's find our card base. Let's see here. So this card base is a little off because I wanted to match my, I have this envelope here that's a little oversized. So this one is 7 3/4 by 5 1/4. So it's not quite your 7 by 5 card. And then this is going to go right here. See, originally I wasn't sure how I was going to do the hole, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'll flip it up that way. But that's not really necessary now. All right, so I need to trim this. How tall did I say this was? 7 3/4. So this needs to be 7 1/2. Let me go trim this really quickly. Okay, so I've trimmed this, and I'm just going to add some of my walnut stain on the edge where I've trimmed it, just so I don't see that white popping through. And then, well, we can't use this one. We have to use this one. I guess we're using this one, guys. No. We're going to have to cut this one. All right. No big deal. But I've already... I've already put my window. But never fret. Never fret. We shall figure this out. All right. So let's figure this out. Okay, so this... See, ideally we should have done this ahead of time. That's my center. But we already used the piece that we cut out for the cobblestone. So we have to just cut this out really quickly. But I showed you guys how to do this. It wasn't that hard, right? Okay. So let's just catch up, Monica. Catch up. All right. And ideally, if I was making several of these, this is the part I would do on several of the card bases. I would cut them all out first. It would be kind of like an assembly line a little bit. And you know what? I screwed up. I screwed up. Hold on. See, this can't go here, you guys, because it needs to go in the middle of the card. So that's still loose. It's my stuffy head. I'm not thinking clearly. Ooh, that wasn't good. Be careful how far you go. Okay. Okay, and then let's see if we can cut this. Yeah, I've used that cobblestone, like I said, for the walking cobblestone before for a card that I made. I'm thinking using it for the whole side of the building might be a little too heavy because the texture paste is a bit heavy. So we'll check it out in a minute. Okay. All right. Caught up here. Of course, we got to trim this a little bit more, just like we did before. You guys feel like it's deja vu, right? You can't rush your crafting. That's why it's called a craft. Okay. All right, let's test this. perfect. But I need to cut this a little bit more. Now this is the one time, you always hear me say, I don't mind if it's not perfect, but for the window it's got to kind of be perfect. Or else it'll be off-centered. It just won't look right. So I don't say that often. But for this, I kind of want it to be perfect. Okay, a little bit more off of the bottom. This is the least fun part of the card, I'd say. But it's a means to an end. Alright, let's see if that'll work. Pretty good. Just Monica, it's good enough. I know. Just bear with me. Okay, I think that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. All right. Whew! Took us a minute to get there. That's when we would have had the the Jeopardy music going when I had to do that. So this is why I didn't color the inside of the brick wall. I knew there was a reason, because it gets glued to the card base. Duh, Monica, of course, right? Yeah, genius. Oh well. Oh well. There we go. Let's just line this baby up. Pretty good. All right, pretty good, pretty good. Now we can put this in here. All right, my goodness. See, I made that card earlier in the week and I've already forgotten how to do it. All right. Let's see. See if we can get this. There we go. That's the way it's supposed to be, guys. All right. Pretty good. Okay. There we go. Now, the card, if you remember, has a little topper, and I popped that up with some foam tape, and this is what my icicles went on as well. So let me just find my foam tape. I don't use foam tape all that often. There it is. Let's just, yeah. Okay, so this will go here with pop-up foam tape. See if we can line it up correctly. Alright. Alright, now this is where your snowflakes come in. Again, these were from the Peking Snowman die set. And it's perfect. It's perfect for this card. I think I cut 2. If I didn't, I'm going to be kind of irritated with myself, because I need 2. Hey Mari, how you doing? All right. I thought. Come on, Monica. I know I had 2 of these. Just give me a second here. There it is. There it is. And I'm going to need this too, so let's not lose that. All right, so the snowflakes. These are, again, from the Peking Snowman die set. And I was cleaning out my dies that I have for the shop, and I found one more Peking Santa die. So if anybody wants it, it is in the shop. I've got one left. It's going to go there, and then this one is going to cut right there. And I'm kind of zigzagging it, so it's just not straight up and down. I always love when I find multi-uses for dies to make different designs. Right? Isn't that great? Like I'm using several different dies for this card. So there's that. And then the bottom is going to go... I'm trying to see how I want this. Yeah, I think up here. Okay. So we'll cut it here. There, and then this will be right here. There you go. Oops. Okay. All right, so we'll put these on the windowsill. There we go. Okay, perfect. Look at that. Look at that. All right. So what do you guys think? Pretty cool, huh? All right. Let's move on to the inside while this kind of dries and sets its place. Now, for the inside, yes, I did use... We're going to come back to that, Jim. I did use glitter dust, but we're going to come back to that. But absolutely. Alright, so we're going to do this for the inside. These are Tim Holtz's wallpaper papers. I guess that's what he called it. But anything that looks kind of vintagey, right? So how tall do I need this? This needs to be, so 5 wide, which it is. All right, that's good. And then how tall? Let's see. So 7.5 tall. Oh boy. So I need to use my other cutter for that. So I caught myself saying something again. It's like a little, I don't want to say it's a saying, but it's a little something that I say a lot of. And my husband says, he caught me saying that. So now whenever I say it, I kind of catch myself. Can you guys guess what I'm talking about? What I say a lot? I'll give you guys a second. I'm sure I'll say it again. But I didn't realize I said that so much until he brought it to my attention. And I just said it a few seconds ago. And that's why I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I do say that a lot. Can you guess? let's just put this as a background, right? And remember, this is going to show through the window, so you kind of don't want it to be too busy. That'll take away from your candy that's going to be showing through the window. But enough where it looks like, you know, wallpaper or paint or something on the background. The thing that I say is, like, when I screw up or like I mess up and I'm like concerned something's going to happen. I tend to say this little thing. All right, that looks great. All right. I may need another cough drop. No guesses, everybody? All right. So this little shelf. I guess we can leave those little things there. Now the shelf. Let me see. How did I do this? Gotta remind myself. Okay, so the shelf kind of lines up right above the windowsill. So if you can, you know, give yourself a little mark, something like that, right? I mean, nothing, I mean, something you can cover, of course. Maybe a little higher. Just something like that. And, you know, you can test it. Oh, yeah, that looks good. That's right. Yep. That's not it, though, Melody. But I do say that's right a lot. But it is 2 words, yes. See, I said I wasn't going to pop those out, but I ended up doing that. Any other guesses? Alright, so where is that little thing that I marked? I think right there. That's too low. That wasn't even right. Okay, Monica. It is actually right there. Okay. I think, yeah, that's it. What do you think? No, Melody, you're the only one. Nothing I've noticed. All right, I'll tell you guys. I say oh boy a lot. So when I mess up, I'm like, oh boy. My husband brought that to my attention. And I didn't realize I said that until I started catching myself, because I said it a few minutes ago. But whenever like I'm like mess up or something's gonna go wrong, I'm like, oh boy. I don't know why I do that, but I do. It's kind of silly. All right, so let's see what we have to play with here. So these, again, guys, these are in the shop, and I have 2 sizes. I have the larger sizes and I have the smaller sizes. I don't know what. I think I'm going to use the larger ones. So let's see. I can put 3 on here. Let's see. Ooh, gotta use the cookies. Love those. And then let's see what else. We got the little snowman. That's cute. And then the candle. I don't really want that to. Maybe something like that. Okay. I think that'll work. So we'll put this right in the middle. I don't mess up, Melody. Well, thank you for that. But yeah, I typically can fix it, but I already screwed up a couple times doing this card. So let's kind of want to keep that higher because these are going to go under. But I wanted my cookie jar to be in the middle. Yeah, when my husband caught me saying that, he's like, when did you start saying that? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I've been screwing up a lot, and I say, oh boy, oh boy. And I don't just say, oh boy, I'm like, oh boy. Crazy, crazy. Alright, I think, but you guys are forgiving. So I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll do it like that, I think. Alright. And then this is going to go underneath as well. So, let's... I'm sure there was a better way to do this. But I like taking the long way around the block, apparently. Alright. I think it's time for another cough drop. Alright, let's... I do say alright a lot. Melody, yes. Now that you said that, I'm saying alright a lot. Alright. Catching myself for all these little sayings that I say. Oops, that's crooked. We don't want a crooked cookie. A crooked cookie jar. Let's see if we can. See if we can put this straight. Yeah. See, after all that, I could have just put those two on the end first. You know, I'm such a hypocrite sometimes because I always say, and I know you guys know that I say this, it doesn't have to be perfect. But sometimes I get so hung up on something being straight. Okay, there we go. Okay, that is wonderful. So I want my cookies to be the center of attention. There we go. I think. Yes. Alright. Oh boy. Oh, see, there I go again. Okay. Monica. Thanks, Sharon. It's quite a conversation here in my craft room when I'm alone, for sure. Because I don't think my little sayings stop when I'm alone. I think I still do it. Okay, I think that's good, Monica. Whew. Okay, we got there. So now when you close it, isn't cute? Now when you close it, you can see the cookies through the cookie jar. Ooh, we got there. All right, guys, we are almost there. Now let me find my candy shop. Okay, so in the confectionery kit is where these Christmas candy shop labels are. I cut this to get my sign for my shop. All right. So that's where the sign comes from. And I popped it up. So let's do that. Okay. Thanks, Mari. Great window. Thanks, Lourdes. You talk to yourself all the time? Of course. I've got a TV here in my craft room, so a lot of times I have. Recently, I've been watching the Hallmark Christmas channel. Yes, I'm one of those people. But I've been watching Hallmark Christmas movies while I've been crafting, getting myself in the mood. All right, there we go. Ah, that looks wonderful. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? So, on this one, I didn't finish the inside, and I don't think I'm going to put this. This ended up here because it was a fub. I had a hole here that I had to cover, and that's when I figured out the whole measurement thing. So I don't think I'm going to put this here. If anything, I should have put it here. That would have probably been smart to plan ahead. But of course, you know, of course I didn't do that. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, also, if you guys purchase any of these candy jars, I am going to give you two shelves and 2 of the signs. Just because. So that will go just as an extra. It's not typically part of what I would include, but I'm including those for you. All right. I'm thinking. Oh yeah. See, I can easily put that there. That would have been nice to put behind there, but of course I didn't do that. Can I still do that? I kind of want to do that. Is it too late? Should I leave it alone? Let me see. See, I can lift it up. Don't tell me I can't do that. Yes. All right. This is not the way to do it. You should think about the design before you start gluing things down. But, you know, we're just going to make it up as we go along. How's that? This is going to go a little bit under, not all the way. But doesn't that look better, guys? I think it does. Ordinarily, I would have put that sign first without crinkling up my jars, but not the way it worked out. That looks great. Fantastic. And then I'll put some sort of sentiment here. I'm not going to waste our time doing that right now. Let's finish off the top. All right. I have Sharon. That's funny. All right, I cut out some of these snowflakes, but I had an idea to use a stencil. Now, I have just speckles of snow, and then I have actual snowflakes. I'm thinking I want speckles. And I have translucent grit paste. Hopefully it's not dried. It's not. All right, fantastic. And the idea is to just have some speckles of snow. It's always dangerous when you're this far into the design and you're like, I wonder about this. Because it could easily go astray. But we're gonna put on our big girl underwear and we're gonna go for it. Alright. Let's not be too rambunctious here. So let's just, maybe a few up here, right? And it's going to be oh so slight. You guys aren't going to see a lot of it. So that's why I'm wondering, maybe I should do the snowflakes. Yeah, let's do the snowflakes. See, I'm already changing my mind. But I'm allowed to, right? I'm allowed to. Let's just do a couple and see what happens. See, oh, you know what the problem is? Well, the problem right there is it's too goopy. So that's not going to work. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And there goes my ink. Maybe this isn't gonna work. Yeah, I may have to stick with the actual die cuts. But that's something I think I'm gonna play with a little bit more. All right. So let me see, I should have done this already. Pop out these little parts. Just put, and these little snowflakes are part of that Peking Santa die. But remember, you can use any snowflake dies, right? Just dig through your stash. There's so many snowflake dies out there, guys. Just find one die that works. Alright, so we'll put that there. And let's see. God, so much coughing has given me a headache. I think I'm gonna have to go lay down after this. Alright, and this is gonna go here. I may not have too many. I might only put like 3. Maybe it's just the beginning of snow, right? The beginning of snow. Alright, so oh goodness. And put this one, I don't know, right here maybe. We'll just do 3. If I want to put more, I'll put more later. Okay. Where are we at? Okay. Where am I at? So we could put that there, right? I don't think I'm going to put the light post on this one. But I could put excuse me. I could put the smaller, or even the bigger maybe. What do you guys like, the smaller or the bigger one? Maybe the bigger one, huh? Yeah, I think it has to be the bigger one. What do you guys think? I'll let that sit a minute. Okay, so for the snow, I did use, yeah, Robin, for sure, that coughing just kills my chest and my head. Okay, Tina, we'll see you later. Okay, so the Grit Paste Translucent is what I used for the snow, and like Jim suggested, I did use some of my pixie dust for this as well. So the way that I did this is, where are we at with time? 1 hour and 20. That's about normal, I think, right? All right, so the way I did the snow is I just kind of put it on. So I put it, you know, here. Let's see how I can do this. Just kind of caked it on a little bit, I guess. Okay, you guys are gonna have to tell me, do you think the big one or the small sign should go there? Okay, so that's going to be that. Looks good. And then I put some on the bottom too, but well, let's think about that for a minute. And then I also put some snow on the window. And this is what I was saying about, this is why you need the transparency, is to be able to put some snow on the windowsill. So, you know, maybe just a little snow right there. Maybe a little snow, you know, right there, something like that, right? And then, I don't know, maybe a little bit, you know, here, maybe something like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot, right? The big one? Bigger sign, bigger. Okay, we can do the bigger one. All right, so before we do that, let's get our pixie dust. And put this down. Okay. Pretty good, huh? I like it. All right. And then finally, we'll do the big sign, I guess. I should put some snow. See, on this one, I put snow at the bottom, but I also had this lamppost, so I'm not sure. Oh, maybe we should put some snow up here. I'm not sure if I want to put snow at the bottom or not. Alright, so let's just put a little bit up here. I'm just kind of dabbing it. Oops, what did I just drop? Oh, my phone tape. I don't need that. I don't need that. And then, can you imagine if I made these Christmas cards and sent them to everybody I sent a Christmas card to? Whew! I'd have to start my Christmas cards last year. Alright, that's too big. Okay, let's maybe something like that. Something like that, I think. I like the way it's hanging off the side. I don't know if I should have some here. See, now I'm going crazy, guys. Why not? Why the heck not? Yeah. It's alright. It's alright. Okay. And then we'll shake it. Put some more of this. Look at my windows, how awesome they look. I don't know if the windows will stay though. That's pretty good, huh? Should I put... So you can't really put texture paste or anything on this because it turns brown, which was fine for the bottom because it looked like dirty snow. But I think I'm not going to do it on this one. I think I'm just going to... put the side. Candy cane store. Candy cane store. Alright. It's gonna go right there. see if I can kind of center it up a bit. I want to have a little bit of the brick showing at the bottom. I think that's good. I think that's good, guys. Alright. So let's look at the finished product here. Let me put another cough drop in my mouth. Alright, so what did we do? We used, there's both of these here. Oh, this one is a little bit darker. Look at that. I must have used more walnut stain on that one. But still a really great look, right? I mean, not every card has to be exactly the same. But yeah, so let's take a look at what we did. So I think the cobblestone was a drastic fail. I think the texture was a little bit too heavy for this. So now we know, right? That's going in the trash. I don't like it. But the cobblestone I still think is great for the bottom or small places. We'll have to try that again, I think. But that part was a fail, so that goes. I'm gonna recycle that in the trash can. And then we cut. You know, we cut the window, right, and then we measured it with the pen, and then we had to use the X-Acto knife. Excuse me, to cut the hole, right? And then we did the embossing folder. I recommend embossing folder versus paste because I think the paste was a little bit too heavy. But the embossing folder was perfect. I used walnut stain and the fired brick for the bricks. And then I used the icicles, which I think are fantastic, from that Peking Santa die set. The labels are from my candy confectionaries kit, which is linked in the description box, guys. And then the inside were just stickers, right? Just stickers that are in my shop. I had a little window inside, which I love. I think that's fantastic. And then I'll put some sort of Merry Christmas or something down here, right? So that'll definitely be cards I sent out. And I like the little sign in the background as well. But that's it. So that's my design for today, guys. I hope I gave you guys some ideas, and you'll try something like this. Remember, you can use windows for, you know, anything. You can put like a little scene of a Christmas tree, maybe little kids, paper dolls if you have paper dolls. It doesn't necessarily have to be a candy shop. But windows are great because I just think they are, one, so unique, and people love them because they don't anticipate that, I don't think. Yeah, I just think it's a great design. So that's it, guys. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up for me, and I appreciate you hanging out. I did want to share with you, I think over Thanksgiving weekend is when I'm going to finally do this book that I've been promising you guys. This was the Cheez-Its book. Robin, do you remember that Cheez-Its box I had? Well, this is it. So this turned out to be my ephemera book, and I have all my Christmas ephemera in here. And I keep telling you guys that I was going to promise you the design on how to do this. So I think I'm going to do that over Thanksgiving. So if you have some sort of a Cheez-Its box, or something that has, you know, a thicker spine. The spine is 3 inches, and with 3 inches, you can do 1, 2, 3 signatures, which gives you lots of pages. So try to find some sort of recycled box that's about 3 inches. And then you're going to need, you know, Christmas paper, or if you don't want to do Christmas paper, any sort of paper, but this is off of your stash. I'm just going to show you how to make it. And this is how I store my ephemera pieces. I have a Christmas one. I have a Halloween one that I've started. And it's a work in progress. And then, of course, I have the original one that I did, which was kind of like my steampunk one, I guess. This is what started the obsession. But I love it because it's a great way for me to store my ephemera themes. And then if I want to, you know, decorate something with ephemera, and if it's Christmas, I just pull out the Christmas book. If it's Halloween, I'll pull out the Halloween book. And then that way I don't have to dig through all of my ephemera and find pieces that will work. So this is what I'm going to do over Thanksgiving weekend. It probably will be a few days, you know, like maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday or something. I'm not going to do it all in one sitting. It would take too long. But this is what I'm going to do. So I will be streaming for you guys over Thanksgiving weekend. We're not going anywhere. But this is what we're going to make. So start gathering your supplies and your Cheez-Its boxes, or whatever box you have. And then you'll need some, I'm using craft cardstock, which is really heavy, something durable, because these pages get really heavy. So something durable, guys, you're going to need. And I might make a few of these and just sell them in the shop. I don't know yet. Who knows? I love making them. They're a lot of fun. But anyway, that's what I have planned over Thanksgiving weekend, since we're not going anywhere. Hopefully I won't be sick. And I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Yep, Robin, you have one sitting right there. Empty, of course. I hear you, girl. Mine's empty too. But yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. Next week, I plan on doing some sort of snowman theme. So it'll be like an outside theme. And, you know, over the next several weeks, I'm doing just cards for the most part. Because I know I do a lot of little knick-knacky stuff, but for the holidays, I really wanted to do card ideas for you. So I hope you're enjoying my tutorials. I do try to be creative for you, to give you guys ideas. And I hope that you enjoy my ideas. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. And, of course, the shop is there. That's how I support my channel. And you guys help me support it. So if you do want to get any of the dies, I have the windows that are already cut out. I've got the candy jar stickers that are in the shop. And everything's linked in the description box, so you can check it out there. And of course, the steampunk class is still available. The kit is ready for purchase. And of course, sign-ups are free. So if you don't want to get the kit, you don't have to, and you can still attend the class. It'll still be fun. All right, everybody. We'll see you later, and have a good week. Bye.